يا إلهي يا إلهي يا إلهي يا إلهي.
Many atheists believe that it is logical and scientific to deny God's existence. Well, let me present to you some logical arguments which prove that they are absolutely wrong, and that it is totally illogical and unscientific to deny the existence of the all-wise, the all-knowing, the omnipotent Creator. A big debate took place in the early days of Islam between a very prominent Muslim scholar called Abu Hanifa, who died in the year 150 after Hijrah, and a group of Indian philosophers called as-Sumaniya, who believed only in what their five senses perceive. This debate took place almost 1300 years ago in the city of Al-Kufa, which is close to Baghdad, these days capital city of Iraq. They agreed with Abu Hanifa to meet in a specific place, and when they arrived, Abu Hanifa was late. Later on, when he arrived, they said to him, "Why are you late?" He replied, "Well, I was on the other side of the river, and I couldn't find a mean to get to you people. Then I saw a few logs floating on the river, and all of a sudden, and on their own, they were cut into fine equal rectangular pieces, joined together by nails on their own, and formed a boat on their own. So I took that boat and I came to you." They looked at him with full amazement and said, "You must be out of your mind. This can never happen." He said, "Well, you came here to debate with me on an issue which is way greater and amazing than what I have just told you. You came to argue with me that this entire gigantic universe, with its stars, sun, moon, earth, and all the diverse multitude of existing creation, came on their own. So who is more out of his mind, me or you?" And they were absolutely startled and had nothing more to say. Well, let me move to a very simple example from reality, and please use common sense and be a fair judge. If you walk in a desert and you find an HB yellow and black stripe sharpened from one side pencil and with a red eraser on the other side, will any wise person dare to say that this pencil, through time, hundreds, thousands, or even millions of years ago, formed on its own? What is the chance of that happening? Note, it's only a pencil which is very simple in its manufacturing compared to many other more complicated things. It's only a curved wood with a tiny, long cylindrical channel inside it, filled with a cylindrical graphite, painted with colors, with few words engraved on the side, and a metallic ring on top of it to hold the red well-shaped eraser. As simple as that. Well, what if we find dozens of similar pencils around? What would be the chance now? Notice I did not say in my example a sophisticated computer, a 4G smart device mobile, a fully computerized car, train, airplane, or many other sophisticated man-made items. I leave this for your rational, and please be realistic. Not because science was able to reveal how things work in a very detailed, amazing manner, make us conclude that everything came on its own. For instance, to know how a computer works, that does not mean in any way that it came on its own. And let us not forget that there are also operating systems and applications which are cleverly coded. Can all this happen on its own? Now let us look to an example from the living things world. Let us take the human cell and see for ourselves the great complexity of the functionality of this microscopic single cell, which is a miniature for a so complex factory, yet so perfect and so precise in its performance. In fact, the entire pencil factory looks so modest compared to the single cell interrelated functionality. So how dare do we claim that the cell, which is way too complex compared to the most sophisticated factory, came on its own? No supergiant network of computers can compete with the high precision of this single tiny cell. This single tiny cell carries the blueprint of the entire human body. Within the cell nucleus we find chromosomes which are made up of coiled DNA. Scientists say if the DNA in this single cell were extended and lined up, it would be almost 2 meters long. The human body consists of 100,000 billions of cells. Can you imagine the length of the DNA of those cells if all were lined up? Take a really wild guess. It's the distance from here to the sun, not just once, but more than 1300 times that distance. Note the distance from here to the sun is almost 150 million kilometers. Science also say that 1 gram of DNA can hold information carried by 1 billion CDs. This is how greatly DNA is a so efficient data storage, nothing compared to it. Yet, if just one CD falls from outer space, carrying generic information, everyone will be 100% firm that there is an intelligent being outside our planet. But when we find this exact information in the DNA, the Darwinists insist that it is randomness and coincidence. I'm paraphrasing from George Johnson's book, Did Darwin Get It Right? Also, an amount of DNA the size of a pinhead can hold information carried by books piled up from here to the moon, and 500 times that distance. Feel free to say a really loud wow. And this is just a single example for one thing from the multitude macroscopic world, let about the vast humongous universe, with its all complex creation, yet with complete integrated relation, perfected and so organized to an optimum with all the existing creatures. I leave you with your intellect to reflect upon all that. Peace be upon all of you, and I sincerely ask Allah, God the Exalted, to guide all of us.
أم خلقوا من غير شيء أم هم الخالقون أم خلقوا السماوات والأرض بل لا يوقنون أم عندهم خزائن ربك أم هم المسيطرون أم لهم سلم يستمعون فيه فليأت مستمعهم بسلطان مبين
يا إلهي يا إلهي يا إلهي يا إلهي